Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Today, we're diving straight into Apple's latest silicon drop, the new M5 chip. And it's not just a tiny iterative update, is it? It's powering three pretty big devices right out of the gate. We're talking MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, and even the Vision Pro headset.
That's right. And what's really fascinating here, I think, is that Apple is basically showing its hand, making these huge architectural changes focused almost entirely on graphics and maybe more importantly, that on-device artificial intelligence performance.
Right. So for you, our listener, may be wondering if you need to ditch your current gear. We'll try to unpack the essential upgrades, look at those surprising performance claims, and maybe peek ahead at what Apple might be cooking up for next year. Okay, let's get into it. So segment one, unpacking the M5 architecture, focusing on this AI and graphics leap. The headline really is performance, particularly graphics and AI. What's the engineering magic here? What makes the M5 stand out compared to the M4?
Well, at first glance, the core counts look kind of familiar. You've got, up to 10 CPU cores, 10 GPU cores, 16 neural accelerator cores. That basic structure follows the pattern. But the real difference lies deep in the architecture. The M5 is built on a more advanced 3-nanometer process. That inherently boosts efficiency and speed.
Okay, smaller is better, faster. Got it. But where does that huge AI performance jump come from? Apple's throwing around some big numbers.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Apple didn't just beef up the main neural engine. They actually added a dedicated neural accelerator to each GPU core.
Wait, each core?
Or in each GPU core, yeah. So you get this sort of distributed AI processing power right alongside the graphics. It's this combination that delivers, massive computational power specifically for AI tasks. Apple's claiming up to 4 times the GPU's computational power for AI compared to the M4.
4 times? Wow, so this isn't just a minor speed bump then, it's really a specialized chip optimized for AI right there on the device.
Exactly. It's less about raw clock speed sometimes, and more about specialized hardware for specific tasks. And hey, beyond AI, graphics users and gamers benefit too. There are optimizations to the shaders, and they've put in a 3rd-generation ray tracing engine. That should mean better frame rates, even when you crank up ray tracing in games or 3D apps.
Okay, makes sense. And we also see memory improvements, right? The unified memory bandwidth is up to 153 gigabytes per second.
Yeah, 153 GBs. It's nearly a 30% increase over the M4's 120 gigabytes.
And that helps how?
Well, that enhanced memory bandwidth is key. It means the chip can juggle much larger AI models directly on the device without constantly fetching data. This really accelerates demanding apps, like think video editors, Final Cut Pro, or photo software like Adobe Photoshop. Tasks that use AI heavily will just fly.
Okay, so a serious internal overhaul focused squarely on AI and graphics. Let's look at the devices getting this boost, starting with the MacBook Pro. The M5 hit the baseline 14-inch model immediately, starting at $1,599.
Yep, straight into the entry-level Pro. It's purely an internal upgrade, though no design changes.
Yeah.
You still get that excellent 14.2-inch Liquid Retina XDR display with 120 Hz ProMotion. But the performance claims are pretty hefty. Apple says up to 1.6 times faster graphics in Pro apps and games, maybe 20% faster multi-threaded CPU performance, and faster SSD options too, supporting up to 4 TB now, which is double the previous Macs.
But this creates kind of a weird scenario, doesn't it? Now, the baseline model has newer silicon than the higher-end M4 Pro and M4 Max 14-inch models and all the 16-inch ones.
It does. It's a bit awkward timing-wise.
So for the average person, maybe not a heavy creative pro, should they actually buy this new M5 MacBook Pro or, stick with the M4 MacBook Air?
That really raises an important question about value, doesn't it? The M4 MacBook Air, particularly the 15-inch version, is still $400 cheaper than this new M5 Pro. And it's slightly lighter, 3.3 pounds versus 3.4, and you actually get a bigger display at 15.3 inches.
Right.
So unless you absolutely need that M5 specific performance boost, maybe for heavy AI work, or you really want that super smooth ProMotion 120 Hz refresh rate, which does make text clearer when scrolling the M4 Air well, it's still arguably the better buy for most users right now.
Okay, that's a useful distinction. Now, moving over to the M5 iPad Pro, available starting October 22nd, and the price is staying the same, starting at $999 for the 11-inch. What's new there besides the chip?
Right, the iPad Pro got a couple of key networking bumps alongside the M5. We're seeing an increase in base RAM, which is nice. It's up to 12 GB on the 256 and 512 gig models, up from 8 GB on the M4. That helps with multitasking. But the really big connectivity news, I think, is the inclusion of Apple's new C1X and N1 modem and wireless chips. This brings Wi-Fi 7 support and, maybe more significantly, Thread support.
Thread, isn't that usually for smart home stuff, like the HomePod Mini or smart lights? What's it doing in an iPad Pro?
It's intriguing, isn't it? I mean, Apple used to let the iPad act as an Apple Home hub, but they deprecated that back in 2022. But adding this N1 chip, which packs Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread, it really suggests Apple is laying some kind of groundwork. It might mean you could use the iPad Pro to easily set up and maybe manage Thread smart home devices directly, improving reliability and speed for that ecosystem. Or maybe something more industrial.
Interesting angle. Okay, third device, getting the M5. The Vision Pro headset. This jumps all the way from the M2 chip it launched with. That's a massive leap in power for spatial computing.
It really is. Performance should be significantly better now, especially for graphics, which is just vital for VR and AR to feel smooth and immersive. And they also brought that 120 Hz display refresh rate to the headset, which was missing before. That should really cut down on motion blur and just improve the overall experience, especially if you're using things like the Mac Virtual Display for work. Less eye strain, hopefully.
Okay, better performance, smoother display. What about battery life? That was a major pain point on the first model. Did the M5's efficiency fix it?
It improved it slightly, which is maybe a bit disappointing. The Vision Pro now claims 2.5 hours of general use. That's up from 2 hours on the M2, and up to 3 hours just for video playback.
Only half an hour more.
Yeah, it seems the M5's efficiency gains are maybe being offset by the demands of driving those high-res displays at 120 Hz, plus the R1 chip handling sensor data. It's better, but maybe not the game changer some hoped for.
Right. And the other major change is about comfort, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. The new Vision Pro now comes standard with what they call the dual knit band. It's designed with straps going over and around the head, plus more cushioning, hopefully distributing the weight better. And if you own the original M2 Vision Pro, you can buy this new strap separately for $99.
Okay, so they address comfort with the strap. But wait, did they manage to reduce the actual weight? That was the other huge complaint about the original.
Unfortunately, no. In fact, according to Apple's own specs, the new M5 version actually got heavier.
Heavier? Seriously?
Yep, by about 150 grams or so. It now weighs between 750 to 800 grams in total, depending on the configuration.
Wow. So more power, slightly better battery, better strap, but heavier. And it still starts at that $3,499 price point.
Correct. It seems the extra power or maybe cooling required for the M5 added some bulk, negating any potential weight savings from the chip itself. It's a definite trade-off.
Okay, let's look ahead then. Beyond the M5, we're already hearing rumors swirling about the M6 generation. What's the big blockbuster feature Apple is reportedly saving for the M6 MacBook Pro? We're talking late 2026, maybe early 2027.
The big one, the one that keeps popping up in reliable reports, is the long-rumored touchscreen MacBook Pro. It looks like Apple is finally actually working on it.
A touchscreen Mac, wow. Steve Jobs famously shot that idea down years ago, didn't he? Said vertical touchscreens were ergonomically bad. What would make this version different?
Well, it sounds like they're aiming to engineer around those complaints. Reports suggest it'll use an OLED display, like the iPhone and iPad Pro. And crucially, it's rumored to include a reinforced hinge and special screen hardware, specifically designed to stop the display from wobbling when you touch it. That's a major annoyance on many Windows touchscreen laptops.
Right, the dreaded wobble, and maybe ditching the notch, too.
That's also part of the rumor package, yeah. Moving away from the notch in favor of a hole punch design, probably similar to the dynamic island we see on the iPhone now.
So if this happens, it sounds like a pretty premium machine.
Definitely. The expectation is it would likely cost, a few $100s more than the current baseline Pro price of $1,599. So a top-tier option.
Okay, so let's try to synthesize all this for our listener. If we step back from the M5 launch across these three devices, what's the single biggest takeaway?
I think the M5 generation really cements AI processing and graphics performance as Apple's primary focus. It feels like a unified strategy across all their computing devices now.
Yeah.
And that sheer jump in performance metrics, especially in that distributed neural engine, it kind of forces us to think about how quickly these on-device AI tools are going to become just essential, not optional, for everyday computing.
Right.
It's almost like Apple's throwing down a gauntlet, isn't it? They built this incredibly powerful engine with the M5. Now it's up to developers and, us to really push the pedal down and see what it can do.
Exactly.
And for the listener thinking about buying something now.
Well, if you're a heavy creative pro, or maybe an AI developer, that M5 power, especially in the MacBook Pro or iPad Pro, it offers a massive specialized boost that might be worth the upgrade right now. But if you're maybe waiting for a real MacBook overhaul, the touch screen, the new design, without the notch, then the M6 seems like the one to watch, even though it's still a ways off and likely more expensive. Yeah, it's fascinating. The M5 silicon feels like the future has arrived in terms of processing, but seeing it in the Vision Pro, making the headset heavier, it just proves that spatial computing hardware, the physical design part, still has a pretty long way to go, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The jump from M2 to M5 and the Vision Pro alone is kind of wild. But yeah, physical reality is still catching up to the silicon's ambition. It highlights that tension perfectly.
Okay, that feels like a good place to wrap for today. Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.